Om. Om. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddher Bhavatu Me Sada Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Gurudeva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Hari Om, and greetings from Niagara Falls. We begin with jokes. Here's your first meme. 8 a.m. There's a photograph of Ariel. You all know Ariel from The Little Mermaid. 8 p.m. Ursula. We look like Ariel at 8 a.m. and I think Ursula is how you pronounce it at 8 p.m. Next. Imagine a father. He's interacting with an older child and two younger kids who are twins. And the father asks these three kids, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" So the older child says, "A scientist." The girl says, the younger girl, "A ballerina." And the younger boy says, "Bubble wrap." I want to be bubble wrap. That is the difference between girls and boys, yes? And one more. I forgot his name, but he's a celebrity. And he said, "A home with kids is like a frat house." Do you all know what a frat house is? And he describes it as, no one sleeps, everything is broken, and there's lots of throwing up. When you are happy, it doesn't matter what you have or what you don't have. Do you agree with that statement? And relatedly, when you are unhappy, it doesn't matter what you have or what you don't have. Do you agree with that statement? Of course you do. We all want our children, really anyone we care for, to feel such invincibility. That's what this feeling is, isn't it? That if I'm happy, nothing else matters. That's the feeling of invincibility. The greatest chance of our children feeling like this is if we are like this. We feed our kids with food. We feed our kids with how we look at them. We feed our kids with who we associate with. And so I'm grateful to all of you. You have invested more than 6 hours in trying to be a more mindful parent. And even if one becomes a better parent by 1%, that is a marginal gain. 1% a month is amazing. 1% a year is amazing. I am grateful to you because you have become more invincible, which means your kids have become more invincible. The world is a more awesome place to live in then. Reviewing yesterday, Sahanau bhunaktu. May we enjoy. I'm going to share with you insights into an awesome samskara. The word samskara is best understood as purification practice. This is the 6th out of 16. And this happens when a child is around 3 months old. The parents take that child to the mandir or ashram for the first time. This is called nishkramana. The etymology of this word is niskramana, which means to step outside one's comfort zone. At 3 months old, the child leaves the home for the first time. And you have to remember, these samskaras were back in the day when everyone lived in, let's say, a dusty environment. So the child stayed at home more. When taken to the ashram or mandir, that infant really is shown an icon, is shown Bhagwan. And the parents are looking at the icon Bhagwan too. Then the parents leave that infant there at the feet of Bhagwan and turn around and walk away. And the messaging of this starts with the child that this is your original. The purpose of your life is to find and be with your original parent. And the message for the biological parents who have turned away, this is not your child. You are a custodian, a caretaker, a manager. What a lovely practice where there's a total alignment of what the purpose and fabric of this relationship is. Naturally, the parents then collect their infant and go home. Some of you are thinking, this is an exchange program. Isn't that illegal? What this samskara emphasizes is we are not the doers. We are not the primary doers. There are endless variables that also contribute to the upliftment, the well-being of anybody, but particularly your child. If one is able to internalize that they are not the sole doer, we become less controlling. By a show of hands, how many of you would describe yourself as a controlling personality? Some of you didn't hear me. That's why your hand is not up right now. And what's fascinating, those who are controlling were so proudly putting their hand up. Less doership is equivalent to being less controlling. What this feels like is a weight that comes off of your personality. If you're the doer, you're the controller, there's so much weight. But you let go of that and you start to enjoy being a parent. Before we had our children, a family we interacted with a lot, and they knew how much I traveled. Some years I was traveling 240 days outside of Canada. And the father particularly told me that if you choose to have a child, when you have children, they grow up fast and you should think about your travel schedule. And at that point, it's just intellectual. And what does someone know about parenting if you're not a parent? And our older son is about to turn 4. I have no idea where 4 years went. There is such an enjoyment in seeing someone grow up. Do you all agree? From this raw material, and it sounds quite scientific, but that's what they are, no? Just raw material. They don't know how to digest, they don't know how to drink, they don't know how to do anything. And then they can hold your hands and balance and learn words. That is most amazing, most enjoyable if we're mindful. Otherwise, that doership and controlling kicks in. It's like we're trying to create a robot. Parents often forget to enjoy. The insight from the scriptures that I shared was, you have to let go to let God. When one focuses on their actions or responsibilities, you've done your best, so you let go of any sort of pala, results, future. That's what it means to let God. You've done your part, let the original parent do their part. The more secular insight was about that acronym TEAM. Do you all remember that acronym? And essentially what the author shares is, let it be. We've been listening to the Beatles a lot, so that's in my mind right now. Let it be. It's okay if they don't know how to multiply at a certain age. It's okay if they don't want to be a professional when they grow up. Let it be. The more you enjoy being a human, the more they'll enjoy being a human, right? And that's how I started. When you're happy, you're invincible. And the practice that I emphasized, learn from the past, plan for the future, and enjoy the present. Learn, plan, enjoy. As we review everything that we've covered over 5 days, I'm going to add one more detail to this, but when we get to that, let us chant this complete mantra. We will review all of our practices, and then we'll conclude with the final part. Okay? Please chant with me. Om Sahana Vavatu, Sahanau Bhunaktu, Sahaviryam Karavavahai, Tejasvinavadhitamastu, Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. You'll never feel the same way about this mantra ever again, correct? Before class begins, we fly through this mantra in 6 seconds. Now we've taken 6 hours to open up this mantra. Studying this backwards. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May we be, let me see with your mouth. May we be peaceful. And our practice, vitamin R3. The vitamin R3 that I shared with you, I think, was reading, writing, and reflecting. I may have said that differently, but this is the one that I want to emphasize. Reading, writing, and reflecting. In the mornings, if you can, read for 10 minutes, write for 10 minutes, and reflect for 10 minutes, you will be more peaceful. If you can repeat this in the evening, even better. Ma vidvishavahai. May we understand. May we understand. In our Albany and Cleveland centers, right now the centers that I'm regularly serving are Niagara, Cleveland, and Albany. What we have started is a chai chat. And maybe all of you in Gangotri can do the same. Before our classes start, for 20 minutes, whoever wants to join can join, and people share what's going on with them. Right now, most feel isolated, and this is taxing on one's mental health. Do you agree? Of course you do. So people share that they're struggling with their parents not being well, or they're feeling lonely, they're feeling anxious. And it's a very beautiful experience because it requires active sharing and everyone else is actively listening. Community is a great way, and I don't think I shared this with all of you. A pediatrician that I know, and you all may know her too, she was recently sharing that the second leading cause of death in young people is suicide. Focused on American youth. And one of the strongest factors to pull them away from such self-harm is community. Because they have a reason not to engage in that self-harm. So we've started this chai chat, and really what is this? May we understand each other. When I have to speak to you, it's not even me understanding you, I have to understand myself. I think all of our centers should have such chai chats. Do this as a family. If you can do it every day, great. Once a week, you buy whatever drink your child wants. A big gulp if they want it, but just once a week, okay? And everyone should sit around and just talk about non-functional matters. Not about marks and money, more about feelings and dreams and fears. That which is fundamental. Like what we're doing, correct? For 6 hours, we've been engaged in a chai chat, other than we don't have chai, which makes it worse. Our next workshop we should do in the morning, so we can drink chai and coffee and so on. Next was Tejasvinavadhitamastu. May we shine in our practice, exercise, examples, and ethics. I've been hammering into our students to change their role models, from celebrities and athletes and politicians to philosophers like Martin Luther King Jr. or Prince Arjuna, to Hanumanji. It'd be amazing if you asked your child, what do you want to be when you grow up? Instead of bubble wrap, imagine your daughter says, I would like to be a gopi. That would be amazing. After that, Sahaviryam karavavahai. May we exert. And I shared the 5 earlies: sleep, wake, study, walk, and forgive. For those who are not forgiving early, I want you to try this. The next time you're irritated, you're riled up, and you express yourself with judging words and mean actions, whatever it may be, try to keep a piece of paper with you. Like I always keep just a scrap piece of paper with me, and I'm always writing my ideas or negativities in my mind so I can analyze them. You do the same. Try to engage in a cost-benefit analysis of forgiving early and of not forgiving early. And what will you obviously find? There's only costs to not forgiving early. There are only benefits to forgiving early. We do so much of a cost-benefit analysis with even the type of coffee we buy, right? Today, my wife and I went to the bank to set up a RESP, which is a registered education savings plan for our kids. And she was telling us about all of these details. What kind of portfolio do you want? What kind of return do you want? And I was like, Sheila, you just make this decision. I'll sit in the car and prepare for tonight's discourse. But see how much cost-benefit analysis there is on a savings account. How much more important it is to do with parenting, with forgiving. And then finally, Thus far, sahanao bhunaktu, may we enjoy. In our practice, learn, plan, enjoy. I want you to visualize a bell curve. For a lot of us, our bell curve is very flat. The beginning of the bell curve is the past, the end of the bell curve is the future. We live a lot in the past and in the future. How? Regrets and anxieties. The more you learn from the past, I want you to imagine you're pushing in that bell curve. The more you plan, you're pulling in that bell curve. So all of a sudden, we're not living in the past and future so much, we're living in the present. And you have to keep on making that bell curve steeper and steeper and steeper, but it requires that learning and that planning. Why we get so excited in the present is because we're rarely in the present. But for those who are in the present more, they don't waste it by being excited. They enjoy that. The final part of this mantra and the final part of our workshop. Om Sahana Vavatu. In English, this means, may we be safe. May we be safe. There are various levels of safety. I'm going to present two, one physical, one mental. In terms of mental safety, because that is more important, I'm referring to our scripture. In Srimad Bhagavata, the fourth skanda or section, the 21st chapter, the 22nd verse, 4, 21, 22, if you want to know more about this. One of the greatest leaders, one of the greatest caregivers in our culture, his name is Raja Prithu. For those in Meaningful Mornings, I've been discussing how great he is. He shares with the people he cares for, as in the citizens of the country. Aham dandadharo raja prajanam iha yojitaha rakshita vritti sweshu seteshu stapita pritak. He says, I am one who is to care over the praja, the people. And how am I to care for them? I have to provide them with 3 experiences. Here's what they are. Number 1, rakshita. Rakshita in English means protection. For our understanding, it is ease. E-A-S-E. To provide ease. Next, he says, vrittida. Vrittida means income. For our understanding, it is engagement. Engagement. Today, the bank account manager asked Sheila, what do you do for work? So she said, I'm an immigration attorney. And she said, what do you do for work? And Sheila and I looked at each other and smiled. I didn't know what to say. So I said, I teach philosophy as a social service. And see, my point is, I don't make money, but I am engaged, correct? Your kids don't make money if they're young enough, but they're engaged in various clubs and hobbies and so on. So a caregiver should facilitate engagement. And the third is, and the most important, stapita, which means education. Now, this is not the education that we get in high school and college, the education that helps us to evolve. This type of education. Did you catch that alliteration also? There is another 3 E's given to you. Ease, engagement, in education. I'm focusing on the first part, even though the last is the most important, but I'm focusing on the first part, which is ease. When a parent is at ease, it's much easier for a child to be at ease. You all think of your parents. I'm confident in saying that your parents were probably strict. Yes? Your parents, you probably didn't talk to your parents about everything that you wished you could have talked to your parents about. Yes? Confusions, relationships, exploring intoxicants, whatever it may be. And it's because our parents weren't at ease with these subjects, so they never made us at ease with these subjects either. When a parent is at ease, they help their kids be at ease. That's where security is nurtured. There are too many parents and too many kids that I interact with that are insecure. I'll briefly tell you about my high school upbringing. My sisters and I have an older sister and a younger sister. My parents sent us to the closest school possible to their home so that we can walk back and forth from school. And the closest school was a Catholic school. Because my parents came in the mid-70s and they came with nothing and knew nothing, so they just had to work a lot. So we went to a Catholic school. I was there until grade 7, and it was so small that they actually closed it down. In grade 7, I think there was 4 of us. Some of your kids may go to school with like 50 people in class, correct? So then I had to go to a public school for grade 8, just for a year. And all of the kids in my school, they went to other Catholic schools, but now my parents kind of knew more, so they sent us to a public school. So I knew nobody there. I was there for a year, then I had to transfer to a high school. I realized in grade 9 that I was not as confident as I wanted to be. And what triggered this, in grade 8 at our graduation, a valedictorian, that's the word, correct? Valedictorian. When she was given this award and she was speaking, I really admired her. She was well-rounded in so many ways. And I always thought that would be a great award in one's life. So when I was in grade 9, I realized that I was not as confident as I wanted to be. In grade 10, this became even more serious. I knew that if I wasn't confident, there's no way I could be a valedictorian or do anything in life. Do you all agree? Without confidence, which is the basic building block of anything, driving, cooking, speaking, you can't do anything then. When I went into grade 11, I made a very mindful effort to associate with those who are confident in whatever fields, some academically, some socially, some athletically. And in grade 12, I started to develop confidence. In grade 13, because we had 5 years of high school, okay? We legally had 5 years of high school. I felt I was established in confidence. And really since however old I was, 16, 17, I've never looked back. And it was all because of the group of friends that I associated with. I've seen teenagers whose lives have become ruined because of friends who lack confidence. In my case, my life was made because of my friends who had confidence. And just for the sake of self-promotion, I won valedictorian in our high school. and my point to all of this is positive thinking, systematic thinking, ease. You be at ease. Your kids will be at ease. If you're not at ease, they're going to be insecure. That's at a mental level. I'll simplify this to a physical level now. I'm reading an article about health of Europeans. It came up in my Twitter feed, so it seemed interesting. And what the author has shared, inactivity is the fourth leading cause of death in the world. Inactivity. Inactivity is the cause for 5.3 million people to die every year. Please hear what I'm saying. I'm saying inactivity. I'm not saying smoking. I'm not saying malnutrition. I'm saying not moving the body enough. And the author went to the extent of saying 80% of the kids in the UK are on track to be chronically ill. Chronically ill. And all of this is because we simply don't move. He did a study of 15,000 random people in Denmark. Denmark is often noted to be the happiest country in the world. 15,000 random people. The ones that commuted to work, and commuted means walk or bike, okay? Commuted means moving to work. He found that they had a decrease of 40% in terms of dying. Just 30 minutes of getting to work in a physical way, their cause or their chance of death decreased by 40%. And so his point is, moving every day is a miracle pill. Why I'm presenting this to all of you is, may we be safe? You have to be healthy to be able to help the health of your child. You have to live for a long time to see your child grow up. My wife and I have been discussing a lot about how parents are having kids when they're older. How many of you had a child, and you don't have to share, but this is our community, why not? How many of you had a child when you were 40 or older, by show of hands? Okay. Only one. I know lots of my family members and friends who are over 40 and they're going to have a child. And I was sharing with my wife that, we're just getting older and it's harder to be energetic and enthusiastic when you get older. Yes, everyone? And I'm sharing this as, if my cousin has a child when he's 45, when his child is 30, he's going to be 75. There's a good possibility he's not going to see his grandchild. This is all me projecting, okay? You have to be healthy. You being around is providing safety for your children, yes? Think about when you get to go back home to your parents and they pamper you with food and care, sleep more, eat more. Even though you shouldn't eat more, they say eat more. And you do that for your parents, correct? It's not for you, it's for your parents. May we be safe. Here is your practice. Here's your practice. Less labels, less likes, less limits. You got those? Less labels, less likes, less limits. What makes people uncomfortable? Labels, no? In a polite and supportive way. Mal Goyle, and I've forgotten your first name. You're sharing that you're a single parent. And I'm so happy that you've shared that. In a typical community, that's a stigma, isn't it? To be a single parent. This label devolves to likes. Labels devolve or become more permanent. They become likes then. And Acharya Shankara has shared many times, you know what a Rakshasa is? The word Rakshasa means the one you need Raksha from. So Rakshasa is one you need protection from. You know what the Rakshasas are? Likes and dislikes. Raga and Dvesha. How do likes come into our lives? Because of labels. And if likes are not checked, what did they become? Limits then. Limits. We tend to do this with everything and everyone, often including those close to us. This child is more athletic. That child is more naughty. See how those labels keep on devolving to likes and dislikes and then to limits. People who like to know about my past, they often ask me, were you a naughty child? And when they ask me, I tell them I was the worst child. Which child is naughty? They're just a child, correct? But that's what we do overtly, covertly. So be mindful about reducing labels, reducing likes, reducing limits. So another acronym for you, L3. Yes? 3L, whatever. With that last practice, we have now flowed through the 6 facets of this mantra, looked at this from a spiritual perspective, from a secular perspective, and have been given a practice. I'm going to tie all of this up in one more way, and then we'll begin our dynamics. I have secretly created another framework for you. Spell it out for me, but go in order. May we be safe. S. Keyword is safe, correct? Next is may we enjoy. E. Next is may we exert. E. Next is may we shine. S. What does that spell so far? Seize. May we understand? U. May we be peaceful? P. Seize up. Those who see down, their kids are unhappy and they are mindless. But those who see up, their kids are happy and the parents are mindful. This is like a 3-dimensional chess game, correct? Now you'll get a chance to tie this up for yourself. In the second part of our workshop, we have gone through minute to mind management. Yesterday, present listening. We listened to Coldplay and Hans Zimmerman, Indianized. What I want you to do now is show me a fresh sheet of paper. Show me a fresh sheet of paper, whether it's in or out of your book, doesn't matter. Okay. We're going to draw a vision arrow. Some of you may have done this with me already. Do this again because a lot of content has been shared. So I want you to start by drawing the back of an arrow. An arrow, just the shaft and the pointy head. The back of the arrow, try to do this with 3 points. So imagine there's a shaft and there's one feather and there's another feather, okay? Or you can do 3 feathers. Everyone got that? So the back of the arrow, 3 feathers. Do I have to explain this more? Do I have to share my screen and watch a YouTube video how to draw an arrow? Now I want you to draw that shaft, the middle part, the bar. And finally, you can draw the arrowhead, which is really just a triangle, 3 points. When you're done, I want to see it so that I can assign a label to it. Good, bad. Right on, right on, right on. Okay, good. Starting with the back of the arrow, I want you to think of 3 words that describe the type of parent you are. Think of 3 words that describe the type of parent you are. Are means present tense. Clear? If you have a question, you can ask me in the chat. And if you're confused about this, try to visualize what your what your kids would describe about you. How would your kids describe you? How would your parents describe you? 1 word for each of those feathers, okay? I don't know if you read Rita's comment. Her sons called her the lunch lady. Awesome. Our younger son sometimes calls Sheila auntie. And she gets so mad, but yes, Shuka, she is auntie. Completed. You've written down those 3 words. Okay. Now I want you to fast forward to the arrowhead, the end of the arrow, the opposite end. And I want you to write down 3 words to describe the type of parent you want to be. The type of parent you want to be. This is future tense. So we went from present tense to future tense. How do you want to be described by your kids, your parents, your spouse, your siblings, etc.? It's very nice to see all of you with your cameras on, your names written. Is everyone done? Okay. Now, and this is the most important part. This is the completion of our workshop. On the shaft of that arrow, I want you to write down, please hear me before you start. What are 3 ways, means, practices for you to go from the parent you are to the parent you want to be? And these have to be serial in nature. Like I want you to start with, this is what I have to do first, then I have to do this, then I have to do this. Everyone's clear about that? So start. At the beginning of the shaft, this is what you have to do. In the middle, then in the end. How are you going to grow from the parent you are to the parent you want to be? One more minute. and pause. There are 45 cameras that are joining us. Mine doesn't count, so let's say 44. I would like to see you share in the chat one of your 3 practices. I don't care if it's the first one or the second or third, but one of them. What is a practice, means, way you are going to engage in perpetual betterment as a parent? Priya is going to reflect. Arun is going to listen. Umesh, minute to mind management. Nicholas, unselfishness. Padmini, letting go. I'm just randomly reading some. Dishal, to sleep. Sleep more. I sleep early. Sleep early. Pavitra, vitamin R3. Sheetal, I think letting go of small things. Kyra, to stop labeling. Rima, to walk in nature. Munsuk, to accept reality. Manan, to be more present. Okay. Everyone, raise your left hand like I have. Can you see my left hand here? Okay. Now I want you to speak your 3 practices into your right hand. Okay, you've only written one. Speak it as in your words are going into your right hand. Whatever your 3 practices are, speak it into your right hand. Do it. When you've completed it, I want you to close your hand. You've said all 3. Now I want you to put it on your left hand like this. We collectively have taken a sankalpa. Sankalpa means a thought to change. And the creator, the original parent within you, is the witness. This is much more legal than any signature or any thumbprint. The awareness within you knows about this sankalpa. Okay? Now fold your hands like this. Om Namah Parvati Pataye Hara Hara Mahadev. And the fact that you shared this in the chat, now you can all judge each other. See, the onus is on each other now. Okay. Thank you, everyone. This has been such a lovely workshop in so many ways. And I am coming to appreciate that you all feel the same way. We'll keep communing through our various workshops and so on. Okay? Shanti, be well. Have a good night.
Thank you, Vivek.